Coming up on Network Africa. It's International Women's Day, and the federal government of Nigeria is giving the women a gift in the form of quarterly soft loans. And the South African government has formally revoked its notice to withdraw from the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Plus, the EU Border Management Agency sets up an African base in Niger to tackle migration crisis. It's great to have you on the midweek edition of the program. I am Bisi Adebayo, and to all the women out there, it's Happy Women's Day. Of course, it's International Women's Day, and the federal government of Nigeria is giving the women a gift in the form of quarterly soft loan of between 10 and 100,000 naira without collateral. With this, the women can engage in productive enterprise. Well, this promise was delivered by the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development in Ilorin, Kwara State.
1.6 billion is taken out every 3 months and set aside out of the JIP money. So you will enjoy from the JIP money. You will enjoy from the JIP money, which is about 40 billion a year. And then every 3 months, you'll get 1.6, only exclusive for women. So when we finish eating in the big one, we now revert back to our own, the National Women Empowerment Fund. What do we want as women if not that? If we are careful, and you know women are good managers, you all know that one because you are all women. We are good managers, we have integrity in repayment of loans, therefore taking this one and repaying will not be a problem at all.
Well, joining us on the program to discuss more about the International Women's Day is Mrs. Bimbo Oloyede, a broadcaster. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Mrs. Oloyede.
You're welcome.
Now, it appears there's an increased level of awareness for this year's celebration. Does that mean that women are gaining more recognition?
I don't think it's a matter of more recognition. I think it's actually just what you said. It's more awareness. Really, I think this time last year, I'm not aware that so many people spoke about International Women's Day. Well, perhaps you read about it in the papers, you heard about it, you know, radio, TV, but generally, the kind of buzz that we seem to have today, I don't think we had it last year.
Well, now let's talk about the theme for this year, which is Be Bold for Change. What do you think may have brought about this theme?
Well, I think it's timely. I think it is important, really, that if we're going to make reasonable strides, if we're going to move forward, then we've also got to have something that that motivates us. And I think that particular, I want to call it a slogan, "Be bold for change." I think it is motivating enough. I mean, those two words to me are very important. Bold and change. Honestly, I don't think you will ever have change if you're not bold. So it is time for us to do more than just talk. It is time for us to be a little more than courageous. And to my understanding, being bold is, I think, a little bit more than being courageous. Of course, the ultimate goal that we're working towards is change.
Well, just talking about being bold and courageous. Now, it appears that, you know, despite the fact that we have more women doing better, especially in attaining leadership positions, and, you know, we also have women who are thriving in male-dominated fields, for instance. But in spite of all this, it still appears there's an imbalance between men and women. Why is this?
Well, I think that by the very nature of men and women, there will always be an imbalance. I don't think we were ever made or created to be exactly the same. Otherwise, we would all have been men or we would all have been women. But if you say that there is some level of inequality, that I would certainly agree with. There is, and there are many reasons actually why we do have that inequality. In Nigeria, I mean, so many of the reasons why there is, if I use your word, imbalance, I think it goes really back to our culture. There are many cultural practices that really makes it rather difficult for us to be quote unquote equal. So I think also we probably have to change the way we think. You know, our mindsets have to be different. Perhaps even our expectations also have to be different. I don't think that there is any competition. I don't think that there's any race that women are running against men or men are running against women. It is simply that some of the things that women want to do, there have been impediments, there have been challenges, there have been barriers. But as you said, there are a lot of things that women do now that they weren't doing in the past. And I think that we have to simply motivate ourselves and have our own personal goals. I don't see it really in terms of imbalance, but I know that feminists will say that there is inequality. And well, there is, if you look at the elective positions. When you talk about the corporate world, women are doing all sorts of things and we are leading. It is when it comes to politics, that is where I think you can say there is a definite inequality. And again, I'll borrow your word, there's a definite imbalance.
Yeah, it's good you just mentioned that now, because I was just going to ask you that, I mean, in terms of politics now, even the women ourselves, are we confident in ourselves? I mean, if a woman comes out now for, you know, an elected position, I am not